Prime Sports Media, baby.
What's up, everybody? It's Prime Sports Media. Thank you for coming over. It's Labor Day. I want to say much respect and love for those out there that are celebrating Labor Day, those that work hard, get up every day, put in a hard day's work, and keep this country going. I wanted to say respect to everybody that's coming into the chat room. Going back to my regular studio look, I tried the other studio look. I said I'm going to go with this one better. I think this one's a little bit better for me to go with. And I want to touch on a few things. I'm just as still hyped as everybody is about the win this past Saturday because reason why it's a special win for not only Colorado, Coach Prime, all the players that were involved in making this whole thing go, is that those of us out here that have been fans, that have been following Coach Prime since his playing days, even before he became a coach, who go back with him all the way back to Prime Academy, who have been watching from afar his sons growing up, his daughters, and we've been big fans of Coach Prime going both ways, playing baseball. Hell, he even played a little bit of wide receiver when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, right? And Michael Irvin talked about that on the Undisputed today. And I got a really great show for you, packed with a lot of things that's going to really make you think, make you take pause. As you can see on the description of this video, this is about the haters, because prior to this win, those of us who have been following this journey from the very beginning, we've been criticized. Lots of haters on social media, off of social media, people in mainstream media having a lot to say about Coach Prime, doubting what he was doing, coaches jumping out the window, talking about why did he get rid of players when there were players that left of their own will, okay? People criticized him for using the transfer portal to his advantage as a first-year coach, which he has the right to do. So they criticize him on the one hand for changing a roster of a team that went 1-11 just a year ago, and then when he changed that roster, bring in some better players, then they criticize I got to get his name right, even though I don't like his name, Tom Leginbaum. All right, he gets up there, you know, he's on ESPN. He gets up there on The Wire, on a sports podcast on Daily Wire, which I don't like. I'm going to play you some audio from that. I don't want to get a copyright strike by playing the actual video, so we're going to go with a little bit of audio from that. And he gets up there, and they're laughing and giggling about, Colorado's going to have the worst roster in the league. I want to say thank you, everybody that's coming to the chat room. I got my mod. I see you, Wills, in there. My mod doing the damn thing. He's in the house. Patricia, I see you. Derek in the house. Those of you that are coming over, thank you very much. You will get something out of this for your value, okay? So he jumped out the window and said a lot of nasty things, in my opinion. Then he tried to clean it up. And then from what I understand, he gave a bullshit apology today because he knew that he got caught with his feet or his hands in a cookie jar. All over Twitter, X, whatever we want to call it, all over social media, people were coming down on him really hard in his criticism by calling Colorado the worst roster. Just straight hate. I think there's some inherent bias, and I'm going to get into that. I know there's people out there who don't want me to get into the racial aspect of this. I am, because Coach Prime said something in that press conference about being an African-American, a black coach, that I think there is some inherent racial bias in the way they are underestimating, undervaluing, and marginalizing Coach Prime. Getting caught up in this, it's all hype. Everybody said that they didn't stand a chance against TCU this weekend, and they stood strong. They stood strong. Let me go ahead and show you something right here. I've prepared this for you. So we're talking about this guy right here. You see him on the screen, Tom Luginbill, very unusual name. I think he was a quarterback at Georgia Tech himself way back in the day. Probably wasn't a great quarterback at all. It's funny how they put people on television to talk sports to me and you, who sometimes were ex-athletes, and when they played the game, when they got to the pros, you know, and getting to the pros ain't no easy feat, but when they got to the pros, they were nothing. They were a do-nothing player. But this man, you know, with his ESPN credentials, and you know ESPN's having all type of financial problems. That's why they got rid of everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry over there, folks. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry. And his name is Tom. And he tried to give a little apology, but he jumped way out of the window. There was a lot of hate going on the field. I want to show you something before I bring up his audio and the nonsense that he was saying and how ridiculous of things that there's been plenty of coaches that have taken over a team in the first year that have had to rehaul their roster. And I've never heard these critics out there in not social media, but in mainstream media, jump out the window and be so overcritical because they're jealous of Coach Prime. They're jealous of his swagger. They're jealous of his style. And I think there's some cultural hate here too. And I'm sorry, folks, got to tell it like it is, okay? So check this out. This was at the game. This picture should tell you everything you need to know about those fans at TCU, all right? I think it was Life in Football. Shout out to Life in Football. Dave's Buffs, Talk Buffs out there as well. They had a great interview. He did a great interview with Life in Football, who got a chance to hug Coach Prime. Coach Prime showed you that he's different than the average individual out here. Let me put him on the screen here. I'm tired of looking at his face. Coach Prime You notice how he's surrounded by all that mainstream media, and he took time to acknowledge, out of all that mainstream media that wasn't really rocking with him or his team, he took time to acknowledge Life in Football. Let's give Life in Football a clap. Holla, as Life in Football always says, holla and bless you. Okay? So blessing, God has definitely blessed that brother to be right there on the field. I'm looking forward to the footage that he's gonna come out with on his channel and being there in Colorado when they play against Nebraska. Now, this is why Coach Prime is a stand-up guy, because he has the common touch. He can talk with kings and princes, and he can still have a common touch with the average man out here, and what he did shouting out Life in Football. So we got to give him a lot of credit for that. Okay, I'm with the man. I appreciate the man. But let me show you what they went up against when they went on the field. Somebody made this sign at the game, which I thought was in poor taste. This was indicative of the TCU fans. Very indicative. It was very, they didn't show any class. Check this out right here. This is a damn shame right here. A complete damn shame. This fan of the Horned Frogs puts it right here. He says, Deion had more toes cut off, I don't like the reference to this, than Colorado had wins last year. So he's trying to be funny, trying to be cute, but taking a dish at Coach Prime's medical situation shows you the low-hanging fruit of the people that were in that audience. And I got some more for you, okay? Deion had more toes cut off than Colorado had wins last year. Well, guess what? We whooped your ass. We whooped your ass. Oh, we certainly got up in your behind. How do you feel about it now, huh? Because we're not only it's not about us coming anymore. It's about what you see on my screen right here. We here. You're making fun of Coach Prime about the wins and losses, but last time I checked, you just got beat by a team that was 1-11 a year ago after you just got your ass kicked in the national championship from the Georgia Bulldogs. That deserves another laugh. Holla, holla. I'm biting off a Life in Football. I like when Life in Football says holla, holla. Look, it's just the facts. And I think Life in Football, or somebody said that when the players ran out, the families had their kids on the field. Like they wanted them to do something. I mean, it's crazy. But we're going to be back home in Boulder, and we're going to put another ass whooping out there, I think, on Nebraska. Nebraska's got problems. They look really bad against the Minnesota team, and Minnesota ain't no world beater either that they lost to. So let me show you, along with the hate going on from the actual audience that you saw out there in, Fort Worth, Texas. Let's go to this Tom character. I want y'all to hear what he had to say. I want all this to sink in, everybody. Make sure you share this video on all your social media. If you're a content creator, share it in your community tab. I truly appreciate everybody out there watching right now. Check this out. Listen very clearly.
The show, because I had somebody ask me last week what you just asked me right there. It's like, well, how improved is Colorado's roster? And I was like, all right, let's get into it. Now, you guys know me well enough. Like, I may not be the brightest bulb in the room, but I don't think I'm the dumbest either. Like, do you think I would literally compare Colorado's roster to 133 teams? No. I'm talking about the Power Five, right? Yeah. Okay, the teams that they have to compete against. So last week, about the end of last week, before we had this show earlier this week, I started looking it up. I started looking at all the teams, all right? And I don't know about you guys. I found two other teams at the Power Five level. And I should have been more clear on this that I was referencing Power Five, but to make an assumption that I'm comparing their roster to 132 other teams is ridiculous. But I saw Northwestern and Stanford.
That's what I was going to guess.
Those are the only two teams that you can look at.
Once again, I want to thank everybody in the chat room for being here. I really appreciate this. But listen to these fools talk. This is Daily Wire. Now, I got to be honest, Daily Wire is sort of a conservative type of, but anyway, let's get back to it.
Right now that you would say that are in the discussion, because I said may, I didn't say is, that may be the worst rosters in college football. Like,
okay.
Everybody else won 3 or 4 or more games, okay, at the Power 5 level. And so here's the thing, like, everybody seems to be, like, on this bandwagon without really kind of peeling back the layers of this roster as it is now.
Here
Did they go out and upgrade and improve some spots?
Listen to them.
They're upgraded at quarterback. I referenced that. They probably have 2 first-rounders at corner. One of them is going to play both ways in Travis Hunter. I referenced that. The running back from Houston, Alton McCaskill, really good player, okay? And I think they did a pretty good job also in the 2023 recruiting cycle. I think Dylan Edwards is going to be a really good player, the running back for him. It's great. One thing you didn't hear me say, you didn't hear me mention alignment.
Nope.
Right? And when we have this conversation about Colorado, you can't, when I look at a roster in its entirety, you have to know that you're not going out there and winning a game with 11 only on offense and 11 only on defense and 11 in the kicking game, right? You're going to have 60 some odd guys of Power 5 level talent to truly weather that storm, right? To run that gauntlet. So when I hear everybody talk about, what is it, Dominic Jordan, is that the defensive end?
Listen how he underestimates them, folks.
Nobody ever references the guys they took in the portal from Maine, Old Dominion, Kent State, Missouri State, Robert Morris, Northwestern State.
See, what he's doing is underestimating, undervaluing.
I think it's fair to look at this roster and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean it can't be done, guys? Does that mean that they cannot succeed in the future? No, of course it doesn't mean that. But I'm looking at this. It was not a good transfer portal cycle. There were not elite players. There were a couple of players that were elite players in the transfer portal cycle. I don't know if outside of Travis Hunter they got any of them. I look at the front on both sides of the ball. That's the problem, guys. And I don't understand why everybody thinks it's—
All right, that's enough of that nonsense. So you can see him he's at the same time he's trying to say, well, he did make some changes to the roster. So he was trying to be diplomatic, but at the end, he was still trying to put this team down. This is Tom Luginbill. This is the man that was an ESPN analysis. He's an analyst on ESPN. I think ESPN the U, where he deals with college football, recruits, and players. And Tom just said a lot of stuff that I didn't agree with, because what we witnessed today is that everything he said was a bunch of talk. See, you can say what a team could be or won't be, but we just witnessed in real time on this Saturday that everything that he said is not the truth. They have talent on this team. There are guys, and this is the thing. I don't like when they say, well, guys that come from small programs. Do you know how many guys are in the NFL today who are legends that came out of small schools? I see Jerry Rice played at a small school, Mississippi State. He's the greatest receiver ever played, as far as I'm concerned, from my Niners. Let's see, Walter Payton, Sweetness, he played at Jackson State. Okay? Let me give you a little history here. Do you know that most of the greatest players that played during the 70s, who are responsible for the Pittsburgh Steelers winning their Super Bowls 4, as well as the Dallas Cowboys that we all tout about, or even the Raiders as we always tout about, a lot of those black players came from HBCU schools that could be considered today small programs. Do you know that there were guys who played in small programs? There are guys who played in the U. Let me do some history for some of you who may not remember this. Some of you that are millennials. How many of you remember the USFL? The USFL, which was a small football league back in the, early 90s. It went defunct. Jim Kelly, who played for the Bills, he played in the USFL. Steve Young played for the Washington Generals. Look at what he did in the NFL once he got his foot under him. What about the Minister of Defense who played with Green Bay? The Minister of Defense, he played, guess where he played his football at? He got overlooked in the draft. He played at the USFL. Kirk Warner played in the goddamn Arena League. There's tons of people who have played in small, what you consider small type football, but you see how he tries to underestimate and value the players that Coach Prime got by saying, oh, well, they played at these small schools. Big things come out of small packages, folks. We can go down a list of people that came out of small programs, black schools and small programs, Division II, who ended up blowing up as Austin. Who the hell thought that Jerry Rice was going to be the greatest receiver to ever live, and he didn't even have lightning speed? Matter of fact, Randy Moss, who was originally supposed to play for Florida State, he ended up playing at, Marshall, a small program, Marshall. And then he came in the NFL and blew it up in his first year. We've had some of the greatest defensive players, defensive linemen ever played a game come out of small HB. If it wasn't for the HBCU schools that black men came out of into the NFL wouldn't be what it is today. Now you have Shadeur Sanders, Shallow, Brother Savian, the running back, Travis Hunter. I'm going to play it today. What did Shadeur tell us, folks? He said, we were doing all of this just a year ago at Jackson, but now it's under bigger lights. Now you guys are paying more attention to us. They're talking about, oh my God, we've never seen a man play back-to-back. They're talking about this man right here. Oh, we never seen a man. Oh God, it's been so long. We've never seen anyone play both sides of the ball. But Shadeur said that Travis Hunter played both sides of the ball all year. That's because why have they not paid attention is because they've been underestimating and valuing these players that come out of small schools. Once again, folks, big things come out of small packages. If y'all feeling what I'm saying, hit a 7 in the chat room. I clap to you all. I clap to you all. This is the kind of program that you'll be getting when I go live for my pregame shows every Saturday. I'm going live today because it's a day off, and I'm figuring that people are available to hear what I'm saying and hear the information that you are aware of. And look, this young man showed out and act out. There he is, Brother Dylan Edwards. He did the same thing. And let me correct something that I said on Saturday. I said he scored 3 touchdowns. That was what he had at halftime. But he scored as a correction to all the great audience out there that are listening in that chat room and listening in the clouds. As a correction, this young man had 4 TDs, and I believe he had 100, not just 136 yards, but I think he had 159 yards rushing. 4 people on the team with over 100 yards receiving. As I said the other day, and as you already know, this is incredible. Just incredible, folks. Just incredible. Let me let you hear this other part of what he said. I hate to play this, but I'm playing it because there's a reason behind the method. We got to hear what our haters and how they think. And of course, like I said, he tried to give a little wholehearted apology because everybody in social media was jumping all over his ass, y'all. Listen to this part here.
The show, because I had somebody ask me last week what you just asked me right there. It's like, well, how improved is Colorado's roster? And I was like, all right, let's get into it. Now, you guys know me well enough. Like, I may not be the brightest bulb
we'll just play a little bit of this,
but I don't think I'm the dumbest either. Like,
you are the dumbest. No, let's stop it right there. You are the dumbest, Tom. You are the dumbest. You are the dumbest. Just like Coach Prime said, y'all act like that Coach Prime hasn't played this game at the highest level. He has a yellow jacket. He has Super Bowl wins. He's an Hall of Famer. He's an NCAA Hall of Famer. He's an all NFL Hall of Famer legend. He's been coaching youth sports for years, which is why he was very well aware of this young man right here. And as I said, he got 149 yards total, yards, 4 TDs. That young man, Dylan Edwards, that you see on the glorious screen right there, he's been working with this young man, I believe he said, since he was 7 years old, since he was a youth. And Dylan said himself, I'm so glad I came to Colorado to play for Coach Prime. So y'all haters out there can keep making these signs talking about, oh, they've got Coach Prime has had more toes cut off than Colorado's had wins. But guess what? That team just whooped your ass. That's right. Let's go back to the bullshit right here. Listen.
They compare Colorado's roster to 133 teams. No. I'm talking about the Power Five, right? Yeah. Okay, the teams that they have to compete.
And we know that they just beat a Power Five team. Wasn't it Shadeur Sanders, folks? Let's just keep it real here. Wasn't it Shadeur Sanders, folks, who scored more touchdowns and threw for more yards, 510 yards, 4 TDs, no interceptions? Wasn't it Shadeur Sanders that did this in a Power 5 game? If that's true, put a 7 in the chat room. Shadeur said himself that it was like practice out there, and it was what they had been doing all along, but he said he had never did this in a game in what we would call the Swac conference or HBCU football. He never registered this type of points, and he did it against a team that was 1 year removed from the national championship. Be it that they lost some players, ladies and gentlemen, be it that they lost some talent, but they showed up and they showed out. Listen to this fool some more before I go to the next segment of the program.
So last week, about the end of last week, before we had this show earlier this week,
there he go explaining himself.
I started looking at all the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys. I found 2 other teams at the Power 5 level.
Oh, here we go.
And I should have been more clear on this if I was referencing Power 5, but to make an assumption that I'm comparing their roster to 32 other teams is ridiculous. But I saw Northwestern and Stanford.
That's what I was going to guess.
Those are the only 2 teams that you can look at right now that you would say that are in the discussion, because I said may, I didn't say is, that may be the worst rosters in college football. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody else won 3 or 4 or more games, okay, at the Power 5 level. And so here's the thing. Like, everybody seems to be, like, on this bandwagon.
Here we go.
Without really kind of peeling back the layers of this roster as it is now. Did they go out and upgrade and improve some spots? Yes. They're upgraded at quarterback.
Yeah.
They probably have 2 first-rounders at corner. One of them is going to play both ways in Travis Hunter.
That's right. That's right.
The running back from Houston, Alton McCaskill, really good player, okay? And I think they did a pretty good job also in the 2023 recruiting cycle. I think Dylan Edwards is going to be a really good player, the running back for him. It's great. One thing you didn't hear me say.
I've heard enough of this, and I'm sure you've heard enough of him. I give him this. Terrible, folks. Just terrible. What he was trying to do is, because he got raked over the coals for calling. Originally, he called Colorado's roster the worst. Then he tried to clean it up a little bit by saying, well, there's Northwestern and a few other schools that may be worse. Oh, did he make some good moves with getting Travis Hunter and getting Alton, the running back, out of he came out of he came out of Houston, right? He tried to clean it up, but at the end of the day, he showed doubt on the team. He showed disrespect, which is why now he's trying to clean it up and apologize in a whole 9 yards. And then people want to look at Coach Prime and the players sideways when they get up before the press conference and express themselves in terms of how nobody gave him a chance. This is what they were talking about. This is why I wanted to play this segment first, so that it all makes sense why Coach Prime Travis Hunter, Shadeur, and all of these great players on this Colorado team felt the way that they felt, had a chip on their shoulder because of, I don't even want to call it a chip. They had confidence on their shoulders because they here, okay? They here, and y'all don't like it, and guess what? We don't care that you don't like it. So what I'm going to do is I want to play, this is what I want to do. Let me put this slider up here. Check this out. So you got Coach Prime to the left. You've got Shadeur in the middle, and you know the man, Travis Hunter, with that famous 12. He making that 12 number famous. That was my number in high school when I played basketball, number 12. Okay? So he was doing the damn thing, right? So we know that he was making big-time plays out there just like this right here. You see him catch. I want y'all to take a look at that. He catches the ball, and he was doing this against Josh Newton, which people, I said this on Saturday, Josh Newton is someone that they feel will be a pro prospect. Ladies and gentlemen, I think all of you in that chat room, hit a 7 if you know I'm hitting on grease. I'm cooking with grease right now. Hit that 7 if you think I'm hitting on grease right now. Now, he's catching the ball against a marquee player. I had people in my chat room, not my chat room, sorry about that, on my comment section of this channel, over months that were leaving me nasty messages, some that I had to delete, had to block some people that were leaving nasty messages about Travis Hunter. Oh, he got hurt last year. Oh, Travis Hunter was playing against a high school talent out there, but yet he went out there and dominated on both sides of the ball, over 100 snaps, 19 yards receiving. Interceptions, threw his body out there for the interception like this. Well, let me let you see exactly how he did that. This footage that I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, right now, you can tell that it obviously came from someone's cell phone on the sidelines. I want you to see how the fans in the stadium, that same fan base that putting out them jokes, putting out all them nasty epithets. And we know this happens in football when you go into an opposing team's arena. You're going to get hit with some boos and they're going to try to intimidate you, right? But I want y'all to see what happened to them when they thought that it was a sure thing that there was going to be a touchdown. And Superman himself, Hunter, came out of nowhere and snagged it up. Check it out once again. Look how they look.
Who said it? Who said it?
Look at their faces. This is what happened. Somebody on the sideline had a cell phone. The fans, the TCU fans just knew they were getting a touchdown here. Then the person I think with the cell phone that took the footage of them in the audience said, "Who said that? Who said that?" Because they said something smart. Okay? This man jumped out of nowhere. You know the man. You know the man. He's the real dog. Travis Hunter. We're going to say it again.
Like this, Travis Hunter, the man. Watch it again in full motion. Poetry in motion. Who said it? Who said it? They look like they got knocked out by a black prince. That's Travis Hunter, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, let's watch that again, because that surely made me laugh.
So did you see how they looked in their face as they thought they had a short touchdown, and when Travis Hunter came in there like Superman, took that ball away, somebody was like, "Who said it? Who said it?" Look, I'm going to say this right now, folks. This is fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use, which is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which does not infringe on copyright under 17 USC 107. I really appreciate you all here today. This is a glorious Labor Day. You're spending a little time with me, breaking down a little bit more about this game. And by the way, everybody, I will be uploading a pre-produced video, as I usually do on this channel, giving you my analysis when they play Nebraska. I'll be looking at Nebraska's defense. One of the things I discovered, which is going to be good for Colorado's team, for Coach Prime, is that Nebraska, I got to keep it real with you all, Nebraska runs the same type of defense. They run a 3-3-3-5 defense, which means you got 3 down linemen, you've got 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and then you're going to have an extra safety. You're going to have a free safety, a safety, and maybe another strong safety, maybe 2 cornerbacks, maybe 3 cornerbacks, or a safety that drops into the box. I explained that in my last video. I'll explain that again. Nebraska runs a defense that Colorado went up against this weekend, so there will be some familiarity as to, and every team puts in their own wrinkles when it comes to their defense. So we're going to break that down. I'm going to look at their personnel, look at their coaching style, and see what it is about this team. They lost to Minnesota. Minnesota is not a good football team, so that kind of tells you something right there, okay? It tells you something right there. Now, let's go back over to here. So after Travis Hunter made that incredible catch, that credible interception right there, right? Then we got Coach Prime, who gave him a beautiful hug. Look at that picture right there. That's beautiful. That's poetry in motion. Coach Prime giving him lots of love right there. Now, what I said, this is fair use, okay? Fair use for the purpose of criticism, education, parody, critical analysis. Let's hear what the great man himself said. We're talking about Travis Hunter, y'all. Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to be a man, but I'm looking at the quarterback, and I'm just like, I remember this play from practice. Coach Kelly did a great job drawing it up for us, doing it in practice. So, and our offense do it a lot. We ain't no running back out when you think they about to run. So I'm like, this receiver's in close. He's got to be going under. So if he go under, I know nobody got the back, and if they got the back, they're not going to get over there fast enough. So I took 2 steps to my right, and then when I looked at the quarterback, he was winding up the throw.
I just was putting something into the chat room, letting you all know I appreciate you all being here today. This means a lot to me. This is, if you want to know how will this channel do live streams, this is the way that I will do my live streams on this channel. Similar to, I have a social and political channel called Information Man Show. A lot of people know me on the YouTube streets as Information Man, okay? Where I get into political and social issues, and I am going to touch on a little bit of what I do on my other channel on this channel as it relates to Coach Prime and what he said in the press conference, because I do think there is some racial overtones to some of the hate, the bias, and the underestimation and undervaluing of Coach Prime and his team by the press, okay? And when he calls them out on it, they got nothing to say. They either believe or they don't believe, as he said himself. Now, let me let you hear this. This brother is from, I believe, from ESPN, and he did a really good breakdown. You're going to recognize who this brother is when you see me, when I put him up. But he did a great breakdown of that play when Travis Hunter came out of nowhere and snagged that ball. Let's hear what the brother had to say. You'll recognize this brother right now, folks. Check it out.
Never been more excited to show America 2 plays in my life than these 2 I'm about to show you. Deion Sanders is about more than just flashy jewelry and pregame speeches. He is about coaching. I'm going to show you 2 identical plays. Colorado, they executed to perfection. TCU does not execute it at all. This was maybe the biggest play in the game. TCU had marched 95 yards down the field. They are about to score. Now, Travis Hunter, He's going to get an interception on this play. But how does it happen? Colorado is either in pattern match zone coverage or man coverage, but it plays out like man, so I'll speak to it like man. Travis Hunter, he's on the outside receiver. Safety on the tight end. Linebacker, he is on the running back. These three have these three. But here is what's so fascinating about how well coached Colorado is. The moment that this receiver runs a slant and the outside receiver runs a slant, everything differs. Watch how this linebacker instantly looks up the slant by number 2. That's the number 2 receiver. Watch how this safety instantly looks up the slant by number 1. That's the number 1 receiver. And then watch how Travis Hunter masterfully, and I mean masterfully, just falls off of his wide receiver, and he inevitably takes the running back and intercepts it. That is phenomenal football. Phenomenal football. I'm going to show you from another angle. The moment that this linebacker's man, the running back, goes out towards the flat, this linebacker is instantly looking at that wide receiver, and he stops. He doesn't chase his running back. He just stops. He just stops right there and says, you know what? I've been coached that the number 2 receiver is going to come to me. Then this safety, he just stops. He says, you know what? If my receiver goes away, I've been coached that the number 1 receiver is going to come to me. And then Travis Hunter, who's off the screen, he just stops. He says, if my number 1 receiver goes away, I've been coached that a running back's going to the flat. And that's just athleticism. You can't coach that.
Right. You can't coach that. As you can see right here, there's already a comparison between him and Coach Prime. Of course, he wore that shirt, that old school shirt with Coach Prime on there. He says a two-way Deion Sanders was on 50%. This is on this means right here, everybody. So I'm going to repeat this again. Two-way Deion Sanders was in on 50% of the offense and 80% of the defensive plays for the Cowboys in 1996. Travis Hunter follows it up in footstep with 100 snaps. 100 snaps between defense and offense. So you know the man is special. And as Coach Prime already says, and you see right there, he is him. Coach Prime on Travis Hunter, he is him, folks. Coach Prime, let me just say something right now. Coach Prime is the man. I believe I think I would never bet against him. If you look at his whole career, if you bet against him, you're dumb and you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. And so it is fitting right now that I play this particular portion of the show with Coach Prime. Now, I specifically clipped this particular portion of the program of his press conference because I'm going somewhere right here, folks, and you're going to see right now. Here we go. Here's Coach Prime right now.
Do things that have never been done. That's the way our life has presented themselves. We do things that have never been done, and that makes people uncomfortable.
Once again, this is fair use, but because you know YouTube likes to give you copyrights when you use it's very difficult for channels like this to use a lot of live footage these days. YouTube will come down on you. They'll demonetize your channel. You have to reapply. They'll say you can't use this and that. So you got to use fair use, and you got to be very clever with using still footage and videos. I think all the channels like myself need to be aware of this because YouTube changed their policies, and you have to clean up and delete stuff out of. I've got a lot of videos that I got to go through, folks. Older videos, that is. But let's start this now. It's fair use, fair use. This is the purpose. This is called fair use, which allows you for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, parody, which does not infringe on copyright under 17 USC 107. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me for having to do the business part of this, but it's just the way things are now. Let's just play this again.
Things that have never been done. That's the way our life has presented themselves. We do things that have never been done, and that makes people uncomfortable. When you see a confident black man sitting up here talking his talk, walking his walk, coaching 75% African Americans in the locker room, that's kind of threatening.
Boom. That's what I was waiting for, folks. That's what I wanted to get to right there. Here we go. How many of you in the chat room agree with Coach Prime? Hit a 7 right now. On this channel, what I want to do to separate myself is not only talk about the games, but I also want to give some critical analysis here. Because Coach Prime says something that's very important, that as black men, and thank you to all 1,000 of you that are watching, make sure you share this video. As black men, as black people in this society, we had to come up the hard side of the mountain. Racism does exist. Prejudice exists. Underestimating, undervaluing exists. Coach Prime has been through all of that. And it is true. When you have, see, society is not threatened by us when we're just dancing and singing and playing sports. But when we also put that together with intellect, intelligence, and we have confidence and we walk with our shoulders up as men, we move as men and ladies, society in some ways is afraid of that. And I think what's happening is that Coach Prime is not doing status quo. Coach Prime is breaking the mold. He's not being stale. He's doing something that's outside of the mold. And this is why he's able to recruit players. This is why he's going to get a lot of players. Because he can do something that the other coaches in the country can't do, which is why they are afraid of him, just like he said. Let's hear him again on that point.
When you see a confident black man sitting up here talking his talk, walking his walk, coaching 75% African Americans in the locker room, that's kind of threatening.
If you agree with my analysis in terms of what Coach Prime just said, folks, put some more sevens in the chat room. He said walking his talk, talking his talk, and coaching 75% of African Americans in the locker room. That's dangerous. That's the reason why Eddie Robinson was seen as a danger. Remember Eddie Robinson, who coached the great Grambling State teams? Same thing. Eddie Robinson never got the due that he should have gotten, because I can make an argument right now that Eddie Robinson is the greatest coach that ever lived, better than Nick Saban and any of these other coaches. And I would say that Coach Prime has the ability to become that as well. I think that as much as people don't want to get into the racial issue, I think that there is a racial component to why Coach Prime has haters and doubters. Because I've never seen people doubt other people. When Nick Saban took over Alabama, you didn't hear people jumping out of the window and talking about what Nick Saban couldn't do, even though Nick Saban left a Miami Dolphins team at the altar. He had signed a contract with them and he bounded on them. Remember that? Right? But see, then everybody criticized Coach Prime for leaving Jackson State when he left Jackson State in a better place than what it was when he got there. He didn't just leave them and leave them in a mess. Nick Saban left Miami in a mess when he went to Alabama. But he didn't take the kind of criticism that Coach Prime is taking just for changing over a roster. And just think about it like this. If Coach Prime hadn't have changed that roster and just went with those same players or left and didn't do anything, and he lost this game on Saturday, all the haters would have a lot to say, just like he's going to tell you right here. Check it out.
Oh, they don't like that. But guess what? We're going to consistently do what we do, because I'm here and ain't going nowhere. And I'm about to get comfortable in a minute.
That's right.
I'm about to get comfortable in a minute. Because guess what? These young men in there right now, they believe. Not all of them believed before.
They believe.
But right now, they came up one by one, twos by twos. Coach, we believe.
They believe.
Now they believe. Now Boulder believes. People in the front office, people in the building, the fans, the students. Now everybody want to believe.
That's right.
I'm good with that. We got room. Because I was just thankful. You got to understand, I'm human. You know, I deflect a lot of things, but I'm human. So I feel some things, and I'm a natural giver. I'm a natural giver. I give. And every once in a while, you know, I have one of those empty moments that I got to reflect on. And these coaches are so good. Rick, George, for giving me an opportunity, and just what we accomplished out there today. Ain't none of y'all believe that. Maybe a couple of y'all that knew me and know how I get down.
Let me stop right there. Let me see. Will, you said they hate the color of his skin and his faith in God, point blank. Yeah, I mean, there's some reasons here. There's some reasons here. Richardson, let me see. They treat coaches unfair at JSU at times, never financially invest in the vision. Right. And that's one of the reasons why Deion, that was one of his criticisms of JSU, that they have to think, they have to change their thinking. They have to change their vision. Definitely. They hate I put that on there. Mrs. Blue said this right here. Let me see. It's not always racial, but this situation is. Yeah, not everything is racial, but then again, everything is racial, folks. You have to keep that in mind. You have to look at how America was built as a country. Race always plays an entity into things. I'm not saying that, look, Coach Prime has had a great career as a player and a coach so far, but I just think there is some bias. And I would be lying to you if I didn't have the manhood to admit that there is some bias here. I think it does play into what you see going on because they've never done this to any other coach.
They know I'm a winner. We're going to end up winning. Ain't none
Right.
of y'all thought you was going to be sitting up here. You was supposed to be on the other side. You know,
Right.
interviewing that or coming asking me, well, what happened?
Right.
You said this and you said that.
Boom. Exactly. That's why I'm saying if Coach Prime would have lost this game, then they would have come in and they would have been so happy. They would have been jumping at the bits to say, what happened, Coach Prime? Or if he didn't do anything to rehaul the team, they would have said, what happened? And then you would have had reporters all over the country writing articles about how Coach Prime failed to get better players on the team. You see how this works? You see how this works.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. Now what? Now what? Everybody quiet now. Now what? Come here, dog.
Here he comes,
Yeah.
Life in Football.
It's one of our guys that does this podcast. I appreciate you, man.
Boom, let's freeze it. That's my man, Life in Football. You all know him. Coach Prime giving him love. Let's give him a clap here. Giving him love. Giving him something he can. Woo! Yes! I just love to see positive energy. And Life in Football has that positive energy. He's a God-fearing man. We know that Coach Prime is a God-fearing man. So it was meant for them to connect like this because it was in God's plan. Let's hear this.
I appreciate you, dog.
See? There he is. That go to man. And I got to get one of them Life in Football shirts too. Love it. Yeah.
I appreciate you, dog.
See?
Keep on doing what you do. Thank you. That's one of our supporters when none of y'all was supporting us. He had our back. He believed in you.
And this is what's deep about this. Coach Prime took the time to reach out to someone who's a social media personality, who's a podcaster. You got all that big time mainstream media, and he was able to pick out someone. This to me is a big deal because of it lets us know, it lets me know that those of us on social media who do these podcasts, that they're watching us. The players are watching what we're doing. They're watching us. They know that we believe in them. And it lets us know that we are just as relevant as the mainstream media. As a matter of fact, we're more relevant. We're more relevant than the mainstream media. And Coach Prime giving Life in Football all that love and dap proves that he recognizes that there are people out here on social media. We ain't got no fancy studios. We're not sitting in no $1 billion, $1 million studios, you know, all this sort of nonsense, backdrops and all this sort of stuff. But we understand football just like the next man. This was powerful. Let's go back.
All right. What's up, boss? You believe now? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe in that?
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Here we
Oh
go.
no. I read through that bull junk you wrote down. I read through that. I sifted through all that. Yeah. Oh no. Come on. Do you believe?
Just like that hater right there, Tom.
You don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
You just answered it. You don't believe. Next question. You don't believe.
Romy over here.
You don't believe.
Romy, go ahead.
All right. Folks, I want to ask you all the same question in the chat room. As I put this on the screen, do you believe by hitting, it should all be all sevens in that chat room. Nothing but sevens, 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 and sevens. Do you believe? Hit that 7. Get those algorithms turning on this channel. Share the video in your social media. I love you all for supporting this channel. You are the reasons why I'm at 13,000 subs and still going up. You are the reasons why this channel is where it is today. You are the reasons why this channel is getting the support that it gets. You are the reasons. You are. All of you out there, you are the ones that make this channel relevant, and you're the ones that make Life in Football relevant. Dave's Talking Buff, all of them out there. My man, Big Dog Chico, shout out to him. All of them. You all make our channels relevant to the point that someone like Coach Prime recognizes. He recognizes us, gives us credit, gives us respect. Because he knows that we're supporting and we believe and we're rocking with him. And we've been rocking with him for a very long time. And so it's funny how after I did the video on Saturday, I didn't get any of my haters that came over and left comments. Isn't it funny how all the haters have nothing to say? Where are you at now? Where are you at, haters? Huh? You got nothing to say now. Where is your comments? Huh? Where are the haters that said they wouldn't even be able to get a point on this team? Where is the haters in mainstream media that are eating their crow today? They're eating their crow. Let's get to Shadeur Sanders, shall we? Shadeur deserves a clap. I'm telling you right now, to my mod, I see my mod in blue in the chat room. Brother, keep doing your thing. I will be looking at other people for potential mods on this channel as well. Do you believe, everybody? Everybody put believe in the chat room. Put believe. Let's let everybody know that we're doing big things over here on this channel, and everybody's doing big things on all channels because you're supporting us all. Shadeur, I got some beautiful things for you to hear about Shadeur today that you're going to really enjoy. But Shadeur is another man. You see him on this beautiful picture here as he's throwing the ball. What did he do that day? As I said before, 510 yards, 4 TDs, no interceptions. He was mentally in the game, knew what he was doing. He had poise. The thing that people recognize about Shadeur Sanders is that he has incredible accuracy. There are quarterbacks in the NFL who do not have the accuracy and the pocket awareness and whereabout that he had. He said it felt like practice. He said it felt like being back at Jackson again because that's what they were already doing, but it's just at a higher level. Let's hear what he had to say. Once again, this is fair use under USC 107. Fair use for the idea of parity, education, reporting, teaching, parody, which does not infringe on the copyright under 17 U.S. 710C, distributing and exhibiting portions of copyright motion pictures, videos, tapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use, y'all. This is for haters like Tom Luginbill, or whatever the hell his name is, y'all. Let's listen.
Today was just, it was like practice.
Like practice.
A lot of y'all ain't believe in us.
Right.
Even everybody asking me questions right now, which is crazy because you just got to understand our coach, Coach Prime, my dad. Everywhere he went, he was a winner. Every game, every opportunity, he took advantage of it. So a lot of y'all don't have, I'll say, the same knowledge and the same experience that he has. So how could y'all question what he's saying? He been out there, he got a gold jacket, he played in Super Bowls. A lot of people haven't, you know?
That's right, that's right.
I feel like now y'all understand that what he's saying is real, and y'all understand what he's saying. And yes, I came from an FCS school, Swac school, but to me it's no difference. Them hits still feel the same. at all.
Now, I think this is interesting analysis right here, folks. Let me just say this right here. I think this is very interesting what he said, that the hits were still real. Of course, the hits were still real, very much real. Shadeur Sanders is telling the truth. I think Shadeur Sanders, his brother, said the only difference between, because his brother played at South Carolina, he said the only difference between Power 5 football and what they played at Jackson State is that the defensive linemen and offensive linemen may be a little bit bigger and they can get off their blocks a little bit faster. You're going to hear Shadeur allude to something like that. Let's hear him right now again.
I mean, I knew we was going to do this. The scoreboard just telling y'all that, you know,
right,
that's what's going on. But y'all ain't believe, nobody believed that we was going to do this. So
right,
we was fighting two battles, I'll say, for the team. I get off social media personally and let my brother Deion Jr., the Well-Off Media account, let him run it in my YouTube. I let him run that stuff. But I'm locked in, I'm focused. I'm not listening to what everybody's saying.
Right.
Yeah. It just feels like another day in the office. We did it last year. If you go back and look up the numbers from last year, they was pretty high versus FAMU. So you knew, you should have known game one is a lot for sure. You should have knew that. I got too much time to prepare, too much time to focus.
Now, this is a really good point right here that I think people should not sleep on. Shadeur Sanders said that he had too much time to prepare to do wrong. What it tells me is that if you give, Shadeur is intelligent, his intelligence is off the chart, his ability to understand defenses that he's going against and understand the offense, the work ethic that he puts in, that if you give him time, like you give him time to understand what he has to do against, for example, Nebraska, right? If you give him time, dangerous things are going to happen. Coach Prime said himself, and I had it in the other video, that if you give number 2, Shadeur Sanders, his son, time, you're going to have a lot of problems. What people are underestimating about this Colorado team, particularly being led by Shadeur, is that if you give Shadeur time, he's going to hurt you. He's going to break your offense down. Remember, he's being mentored by the best in Tom Brady. People have slept on that. NFL scouts better take notice. Let's continue.
Sean Lewis had too much time.
Too much time.
I mean, I grew up in Dallas, not Fort Worth. It's a difference. It's a difference between Dallas and Fort Worth, but it's cool. It's cool. We live in the outskirts, so we're not really too much from the city. We don't really be here like that, but I'm just excited to, you know, share this moment with my dad, knowing that at the end of the day, I knew I had his back.
Once again, I want to say to everybody in the chat room, I may not know everybody's names, but I want to say peace to you. Great folks in there. I see Mac Pride in there, Rich in there. We got 915 in there. Richardson in there. We got a lot of great people in the chat room that I appreciate seeing you here. And everybody, we're going to keep rocking like this. Let's go back to it.
Everything he's saying, I'm going to back it up, and I'm going to make sure I do that. So I feel like my journey, my career, everything so far, it was just the steps to, you know, get me in this moment so I could take advantage of it. Yeah. I mean, I was just a Swac player like 2 weeks ago.
Right. I'm glad he said that because, once again, a lot of our haters out there and a lot of the critics in the mainstream media were questioning whether he could make that translation from playing in the Swac, HBCU, to Power 5. Let's continue.
I was just a Swac player 2 weeks ago. So that's just for y'all to talk about. I'm just, you know, we're going to enjoy this win as a team, but it's definitely, we We got to go play the Corn next week. He been the same player since last year. This is the thing. It's just crazy because it's like everything that we done in the past. We did the same thing. It's just magnified now. We just at a bigger level.
Right.
So if you go back and look at the old games, look at everything like that, and look at what we did, then you'll be able to understand what's gonna happen.
Very good point right there. I had made that point before, and of course, Shadeur is reinforcing it a lot more. Everything, it's like this. I think everybody around the country was very surprised by what Travis Hunter did on both sides of the ball. They were very shocked and surprised by what Shadeur did at quarterback. But they're not surprised because they knew that they could do it. They were doing it in practice, and they did it at Jackson State. It's just bigger cameras, more magnified. What this also shows me is that they don't pay attention to what's happening in historical black colleges and other small schools. The media doesn't really pay attention. And this is how you can have great players that come out of these small schools that go under the radar and surprise everybody. Let's get back to it.
He played offense and defense last year.
Right, last year.
It's the same. Mm-hmm. Oh, it doesn't feel like nothing to me because it's the same recipe, same preparation, same things we're doing over and over. It's just magnified now. Y'all able to see. It's more cameras and stuff, but we had the same things at our old school. The way we travel, the way we eat, everything. It's the same thing.
Right.
The only difference now is that it's media and everybody's grabbing the headlines and stuff like that.
Did anything feel different? Did anything feel different today?
Nah. Nothing really. I'll say the only difference between FCS and this level is the D-line get off blocks if you try to scramble up faster. That's it. Everything else, you got good players, you got good DBs, good receivers, everything like that. You just have more of those on the field at once. You got to think. Everybody on the field ain't going first round.
Boom.
A lot of people.
All right. Shadeur Sanders is 100% correct there. Not everybody on the field is going to go to the pros. He's saying the only difference is that the D-line gets off the blocks a little bit faster, quicker, right? I've also heard that the offensive lineman might be a little bit quicker or bigger in some cases. And he also made a very good point that there may be a few more skilled players on the field, a little bit more. But at the same time, not everybody that's playing in Power 5 football is going to be in the NFL. Some guys don't make a team. Some guys don't even get drafted. They end up being free agents, and they end up getting cut. Some guys make a team as a free agent because they get overlooked. All these things happen. This is a man that's telling you what's really going on. If you're new to this channel, everybody, please subscribe, share the video, hit the bell notification so that you'll be aware when I go live or when I upload a video. I will be going live with this format mainly on Saturdays after games are over to give a pregame analysis. On Saturday, every other video will be shorter, preloaded videos. Once again, I thank you for being here again. Let's get back to Shadeur.
Field may not get drafted. So don't let people fear names. I don't fear names because I really don't care. But that's the biggest thing. When you fear names and you that's half the battle. You already losing. Dang, we playing TCU. I respect the university. I respect everything about them. But personally, I just never cared about names.
Right. There we go. Now, I want to give a shout out. You know, I don't normally like to shout out people in mainstream media, but I had a chance to listen to Kyle Hurd. You know Kyle Hurd from Fox FS1, and he made some really powerful statements about Shadeur, but as well about the father. Let me let you hear what he said about the Colorado team in general after getting a chance to watch the game. Here's an audio play for you. Listen to this.
And Colorado football needs it, so therefore I thought it was a good hire. But I didn't think they'd be very good this year because I didn't think you could bring in 75% of your program to the transfer portal and be anything other than a bit inefficient and chaotic and mistake prone early. I was shocked at how not well coached. Deion Sanders obviously can coach. We saw that at Jackson State.
Right.
But for a first game with a 70 to 75% transfer portal team, this isn't the NFL. There's no preseason games. There's no inter-squad practices.
Right.
These are 20-year-old kids, not 28-year-old NFL players. They were mistake-free, penalty-free, seamless, smooth. Tip of the cap to Deion and that entire coaching staff. I mean, I've watched Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley bring in 20, 25 transfer portal guys, and it's bumpy and rocky early. Now, TCU's not very good. They put a ton of people in the NFL, lost their starting quarterback, Max Duggan, for multiple years there. So they're not very good. But they did not look buttoned up, and Colorado did. And my other takeaway on this game is that this year in the Pac-12, for people that live out west, this is the best quarterback group we have had maybe since like the Andrew Luck year. There were a couple years there with a lot of good.
All right. Let me let you hear what he said about Shadeur Sanders. This is the one that I thought was right on point. This is Cal Hurd from SF1. Listen.
And now, Shadeur Sanders, Deion's son. I text 2 NFL executives during that Colorado win.
All right.
And I asked the question, am I nuts? Or do we have another first-round quarterback in the NFL? And both executives said the same thing. His release and his accuracy and touch were A++. Deion Sanders' son is a first-round NFL quarterback.
Did you hear what Cal Hurd said, everybody? I just wanted to emphasize this because there's also haters out there who don't think that he could play at the next level. Cal Hurd, who's a mainstream media, individual, we know who he is, said that he contacted at least 2 NFL personnel, scouts, team managers, and they said that without question, Shadeur looks like he's going to be a first-round pick, all the right stuff. Let's continue to hear what Cal Hurd was saying.
I'm almost sure of it. 6'2", 6'2.5". With his dad, he's going to be athletic. Excellent accuracy, tremendous poise, light on his feet, intermediate, out in the flat, deep ball. I thought Shadeur Sanders, I know Deion gets the publicity, and we talk a lot about Colorado football. My takeaway was, wait a minute. Deion's son is a first-round talent. Am I nuts? I was blown away. And again, TCU had a ton of NFL players, and they weren't going to be as good this year. I still thought they would win. I mean, they were a 21-point favorite. But wow. So just think, if you were an NFL fan and you're a maybe college fan, but you need a quarterback, I think Caleb Williams, Drake May. I'm not a huge fan of Quinn Ewers at Texas. I think he's Jay Cutler, arm talent, little sloppy, unrefined. Don't love his game, but he'll go in the first round. I think Jaden Daniels at LSU has some first-round traits. Riley Leonard at Duke is raw, mostly a pocket guy that we can move. He's a big-time talent. And now, Shadeur Sanders.
Shadeur Sanders.
Maybe.
That's right, everybody. He called it. Now, I clipped, as we get ready to conclude the program today, I had the pleasure of clipping from the Undisputed. You've got on the Undisputed. Let's see the names. These are people who know what the hell they're talking about. We got Michael Irvin on there. You got my man that played with the Seattle Seahawks, Sherm. And, of course, Keyshawn Johnson, who was a standout at USC and played NFL football. And we already know about Skip and his whole episode and fallout with Shannon. And peace out to Shannon as well. But let me let you hear what they had to say as I clip this as well. These are people who played at that level. And, of course, we know that Michael Irvin is good friends with Deion Sanders, and that Michael Irvin was recently at Colorado, got a chance to see the team up close and personal. Warren Sapp was there. Of course, he was on the sideline at the game with the team. But let's listen to this real quick.
The transferring to the next level. If you watched him at Jackson State, which I'm sure you did, but if you just watch his skill set and you, in your mind, look and say, he's going to have better players at the University of Colorado than he had at Jackson State.
Good point.
And so when you're watching him, you're saying to yourself, okay, now he has a new offensive coordinator, a guy who was a head coach before, who knows how to call plays, puts him in the right situations, and everything will clean up. All the things that we saw, his footwork, his mechanics, that stuff will clean up over time, no question about it. As far as the NFL level goes, he'll be fine when that time comes. I promise you. I said this to somebody yesterday, SHARE, we were having a conversation, and they were talking about Caleb Williams. I said, man, I'm diehard USC.
Yes, you are.
But don't tell me.
September 30th.
Don't tell. Oh, I'll be there. Don't tell me that Caleb Williams is head and shoulders above Shadeur. Don't do that. Don't do that.
They're 50-50?
Here's what I would say. You've seen more of Caleb. So from a mental standpoint, your mind tells you he's better. That's not because you've seen him in more situations. But based on this kid going on the road, Sherm, going on the road in a hostile environment, the first time at a big-time Power 5 school, unleashing 500-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions on him. Come on. If that was one of the top quarterbacks that we in the preseason doing that, we would be having a different conversation, playmaker.
That's facts.
We'd be having a totally different conversation. And he did it in a way that you could recognize. You could recognize it because during the offseason, you heard, hey, he worked with Tom Brady. You know, and it's cliche to say, hey, somebody who worked with somebody, they're going to kind of show their game similar. But he looked like Tom Brady. As somebody who played against Tom Brady multiple times, he took what the defense gave him. The offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis, gave him a great plan so they wouldn't be exposed on that offensive line because they're inexperienced and they're not where they want to be yet. But you didn't see that. You didn't see that because they're hurrying up to the ball. They don't have time to sub. Those D linemen were tired. 3-4 plays in, they usually rotate. They usually sub out. You saw them try to sub out during that game, and Shadeur caught him. Hey, 12 men on the field. Let's get that penalty just like A-Rod does in the National Football League. But you could see, hey, if there were crossers, he hit the crossers. Hey, if I need to get it to the back early, I got it to the back. Let him get starts for me. Then when the shots were there, you saw the discipline. Keep his head straight. Look the safety off. Find his one-on-one. You saw things that you're only going to see at the next level, and you saw how well coached he was. His footwork was there. On the touchdown to Jimmy Horn Jr. late in the second half, where he scrambled out of the pocket, but reset his feet, got his hips forward, and bang, touchdown. You saw all the things, and you saw the poise. You saw the poise throughout the game. He never panicked when there was big plays being made. He was constantly coaching his receivers. Like, he showed all the intangible things. We always talk about the intangibles. The intangible. He has a plethora of intangibles. And he has a showmanship. He has a leadership quality about him. He made the players around him better. And I think those guys will continue to believe in him and continue to follow him, man. I don't think Caleb Williams is head and shoulders. I think he does the flashy things. You know, sometimes you get a player that just got the flash, and they're talking about the Pat Mahomes. He does the throws falling out of bounds and all that. But if you talk about straight up playing the quarterback position, executing, shoulders up, he's got to be one of the best in the country, and I hope.
All right. So you heard Keyshawn Johnson, my man Sherm, played at Seattle. He was a hell of a defensive back himself as a defensive back, and he really loves Travis Hunter as well. And of course, Michael Irvin didn't say a lot there, but he was on the show today and I think they interviewed Coach Prime too today about the whole situation after they won that game and everything that took place after. But folks, I really want to thank you for coming out and showing out and being here today. Once again, they're going to be taking on Nebraska this upcoming Saturday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a short or a 20-minute, 25-minute, whatever video giving a assessment of what they need to watch out for, how they match up with Nebraska, and what players should be key against their defense and what we should do against their offense. And they didn't look good against Minnesota. I think I'm going to try to look at some of that film, that video when they played Minnesota, to get an idea of where they are glaringly weak, and hope that Coach Prime, well, we know Coach Prime and the coaching staff are going to have a game plan for Nebraska, against Nebraska, and they'll definitely tear Nebraska up. Appreciate you all. If you appreciated this stream today, if you got some value out of this stream today, hit a 7 in the chat room, share the video on your social media, let people know about the channel. And I want to say shout out to all the content creators out there that are doing this type of content. We all are doing our best to give you the best content that we can give you a perspective sometime that the mainstream media won't give you, fail to give you, and we give you that other side of the coin. Once again, I got to say, this man right here is eating his crow. I look at him as the mastermind around all the people who have been hating on Colorado and Coach Prime and the players. And he got hit heavy on social media. People are all over him on social media for the things that he said. And of course, he's going to try to clean it up and say, well, no, I meant this, I meant that. You got caught saying it. You got caught calling him the worst roster. Then you tried to clean it up about some other damn rosters in the country because you got caught. Simple as that. Trying to give your apologies later on down the line. But right now, everybody, Colorado is here, okay? It ain't about, Colorado ain't coming. Colorado is here. You're here. I'm here. We're going to keep doing the damn thing as much as we possibly can. If you enjoyed the show, once again, hit a 7 if you enjoyed the show. If you got something out of it today, share the video. Thank you. If you are new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I would appreciate that. I appreciate you all. Let me see. We got Griffin in here. A lot of great people in here that I see. Perez, Bunch, Get Sprinter 2500 in here. D Hall, Larry Scott, my mod, E Rich. Well, I got to figure out your name correctly so I can pronounce that name correctly. So I'm going to make sure I get that right for my mod. We got Curtis Lee in the house. Let me see. Patricia, SPLC, Poke Radio said, you didn't mention me. Oh, Poke. I got you now, Poke. Perry, Ronald Perry, King Rich is in the house. We got Silverback in the house saying GOAT. One game at a time. Yeah, we got to take it one game at a time. That's the man. We got to take it one game at a time. We got Marlon in the house putting a 7. I'm a newbie. Hey, welcome to the channel. Subscribe, share the video, tell people about the channel. We got Mr. Sam is in the house right there. And let me put myself back on the screen. I got the logo. I've been reading here. Alicia is one of my mods on my first channel. Let me go in here. My sister Alicia, I see you in there. Let me put you up here, and let me see this right here. Yeah, thank you for being here. I see you. You put a 7. We got the Realism, Get Sprinter. Alicia's here. She follows me on my Information Man show. Earl Styles is in the house. Mr. Sam is in the house. Polk is in the house. Mac Pride is in the house. Davis Richards in the house. Data Prince. Let me see. Man, how did I miss that? I'm trying to. We here. That's right, brother. We here. We got Stephen Gamble in the house. First show. Enjoyed it. Thank you. I will be doing shows like this on Saturday. I'll go live on Saturday after Colorado plays their games. Whether they lose or win, I'm not going to bow out. I'm going to do a show, and we're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad, no matter what. That's the bottom line. Who else do we have here? We got Homegrown Cowboy in the house. Welcome. We got my man Willie, ERINHWILLA, my mod. I'm going to be modding some other folks up very soon. 1-2 is in the house. Nebraska is the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it is in the middle of nowhere. We got Richardson in the house. We got K, the eighth man says, great show, first time viewer. Thank you. Thank you for coming over. We got, let me see. Man, I'm trying to, Carrie Hector Perez. I'm really bad with names, folks. Y'all, you got to excuse me. Leonard is in the house. Let me put my man right here up. Somebody, Marlon is here. Says fire show. Thank you. This is how I do it. This is how I do it. This is how I do it on my first channel. So I'm just bringing a little bit of flavor of what I do on my first channel to my sports channel. And we got 1-2 is in the house. Dr. J is in the house. Sir Bay is in the house. What's going on, Sir Bay? We got Patricia in the house. Let me give you all a clap. Ranger AP says, we believe, I believe, we all believe. The code leader, we in here. Hey, y'all in here deep. Y'all in here deep. Everybody, I'm going to get on out. But once again, everybody, keep doing your thing. Keep leaving me comments on the video. I still have a lot of comments to leave messages to. So I know that a lot of you have left messages on my shorts and other videos. And I got so much to look at. I will be getting to those messages and leaving my response to what you say in the comment section. Make sure you check out the YouTube shorts that I drop, okay? Also, make sure you pay attention to the community tab. What is the community tab? You go up on the page of this channel, you look at where it says community, you click into community, and what I do is I drop articles, I drop pictures, I drop whatever is going on around this team, okay? That's related. A lot of it is me putting memes and pictures of Coach Prime, the players, and a lot of people like that. Also, I have a Facebook page to this channel. It's called the same thing, Prime Sports Media on Facebook. I got about 14, maybe 15,000 people following me over there. And I also publish stuff over there, just like I do in the community tab. Sometimes I publish stuff that maybe is not in the community tab. So check me out over there. I'm on Twitter, or X now, under the same name, X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok under the same name, Prime Sports Media 06, Prime Sports Media 06. And I usually just drop my shorts that I drop on this channel as a TikTok video as well. So everybody, appreciate you. I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. You all enjoy the rest of your Labor Day, everybody. Peace. Peace to you, everybody. Peace. Peace. Yeah. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Prime. Colorado. We here, everybody. We here, everybody. Peace.
information.
Thank you for listening to Prime Sports Media, everyone. Peace.